Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Ms. Zulfa and Ms. Giridras and my friends. The motion of our debate is, this was believed that online learning is rubbish. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Subaidillah Fajar Maulana. I'm the first speaker of affirmative speech team. Throughout my debate, I strongly disagree with this motion. I will explain to you about how learning can improve the students' competence. I divide my debate into 5 parts. First, definition. Second, crisis, trend, and then primitive summary and burden of proof. Okay, first I will explain to you about the definition. Before the advanced technology, the ancient education system was carried out by face-to-face with the teacher using blackboard and book in the room, or using other media which available in surrounding. The learning was very limited. The student only listened to the material, then they answered the question in book. However, the development of technology has given in teaching methods. The development of technology has given choices in teaching methods. It gives a very good impact on education. It can be seen from the many digital platforms used as a study room, such as Ruang Guru, Wipper, Zenius, Edmodo, Kahoot, and Duolingo, and many others. This method is called e-learning. E-learning is an innovation in the field of education where the students can study virtually through the computers, laptops, and smartphones that are already connected to an internet connection. So the student don't have to come to class or to school. Through e-learning, the learning materials can be visualized in various formats so that they can be more interesting and more dynamic to motivate them to study, such as studying material through videos, answering the question by playing the game, and online discussions. So the student can explore their abilities in depth. This method can more attract students' interest in learning and increase students' competence. What we mean by this motion is, we believe that e-learning can simplify the learning system and increase the students' competence. And crisis. Why do we see this motion as a bad thing? Actually, e-learning gives many good impacts on education. The student can access material from anywhere and anytime. They can set their own study schedule. The flexible learning time makes it easy for them to determine their study time. Each student usually has their own times when their concentration and focus are on the most optimal conditions. So the understanding of the material can be more quickly and easily. In addition, the learning activities which to individually make students can adjust their abilities. The student can repeat the material several times as needed. These are not obtained at school. However, there are also students who disagree with e-learning because of an internet connection with problems which do not support in their regions, inadequate software, and too many assignments. And then time. One thing which is often worried by students when joining online class is the sudden loss of internet connection. So it makes it difficult for studying. It can cause to miss the material, so the students do not get the same material as their classmates. This is certainly very detrimental to the students. Fortunately, e-learning is supported by the teachers which can access the material in a flexible time. The student can choose the right times to access the material so they can understand the material easily. In addition, e-learning can be done from anywhere, such as at home, in the office, or elsewhere. It can save transportation costs, energy, and time, which are usually required for trips to school. Primitive summary. The internet connection problem. such as the sudden loss of internet connection, the endless internet packet data, and the length of internet connection can cause interference such as leaving a class online suddenly, virtual display that falters, and audio that is not clear. This problem can cause the backwardness of material. These are obstacles which are often experienced when connecting all of experience activities through the digital platform. To overcome this problem, the students have to make sure first the internet packet data, whether it is still sufficient or not. If not, the student can buy internet packet data, then refill it before the online class are begun, or the student can use free Wi-Fi which has been provided by government in public places. In addition, the internet connection also needs to be checked whether it is support or not. If not, the student can find another place which has a smooth internet connection to support joining the online class. The indicated software can also have interference with e-learning. If student has different economic condition, for the students who are well off, they may not feel difficulties. They have the software to support e-learning, but for students who are not well off, they will get difficulty for joining online class. To overcome this problem, they can borrow the software such as laptop, computers, or smartphone to their friends. Or they can also use computer facilities which has been provided by government in the regional library. Through e-learning, the teacher will tend to give a lot of assignment at each meeting. It is certainly very burdensome to the students. They will spend a lot of time doing assignment, so it can disrupt students' eating patterns, hours of sleep, and playtime. To overcome this problem, the student can do assignment directly after the online class is finished, so they will not feel burdened with the assignments. And then burden of proof. First, why can e-learning improve competent students? Through e-learning, the learning material can be visualized in various formats so that they can be more interesting and more dynamic to motivate them to study, such as studying the material through video, answering the question by playing game, and online discussions, so the students can explore their abilities in depth. This method can be more attract student interest in learning and increase students' competence. Second, why is e-learning very suitable for students? The student can set their own study schedule. The flexible learning time makes it easy for them to determine their study time. Each student usually has their own times when their concentration and focus are at the most optimal condition. So the understanding of the material can be more quickly and easily. The student can repeat the material several times as needed. These are not obtained in school. Third, why is e-learning considered as a bad thing? Because of the internet connection problem which do not support in their regions, inadequate software, and too many assignments, this can cause to miss the material, so the students do not get the same material with other classmates. Thank you. Thank you for your nice attention. The last I said, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning, ma'am and miss, and also my friends. Now I'm as the first speaker of the opposite team. We'll have my counter argument about the benefits of e-learning and how to deal with the slow internet connection. And first of all, benefits of e-learning, I have 5 points. The first is e-learning saves time and money. With online learning, your learners can access content anywhere and anytime. They don't need to take time out from their jobs to attend classes. E-learning is also cost-effective. Companies save a substantial amount on the travel and accommodation costs of both learners and instructors, as well as the venue and materials. No printing helps reduce your carbon footprint too. The second, e-learning leads to better retention. Modern learners prefer bite-sized, interactive content. They would rather watch a video or listen to a podcast than read through pages of manual. E-learning tools enable learning designers to make content interactive. The more engaging the content is, the better the learners remember information. If they enjoy learning, they can able to recall and apply the concepts at work. The third is e-learning is consistent. In face-to-face sessions, every instructor has his or her own method of teaching. Each varies in approach and style and is susceptible to mistakes. You can eliminate these issues with e-learning. Online learning provides consistent and standardized training every time. Each learner goes through the same experience regardless of when and where he or she takes the course. The fourth is e-learning is scalable. Online learning is scalable when you can roll it out as many employees you need and is a one-time investment. The more learners take the course, the faster you can write off the expense. The fifth or the last is e-learning offers personalization. Each learner has unique preferences and learning goals. E-learning makes it possible to cater to individual needs. It allows learners to choose their learning path and navigate at their own pace when they decide what to learn and when they remain invested in the course. And then, how you deal with a slow internet connection. I think every family nowadays should have at least one Wi-Fi in their house. And how to speed up the speed of the internet connection. The first step is find out what type of service we are paying for. Infrastructure matters, and even the fastest internet service provider in the world is limited by infrastructure your family is connected with. Whether you ask your parents to pony up for better service or you decide to pitch in to get them a faster plan, you are already on the road to improving your family's connection to the internet. The second step is search out their modem and wireless router. Chances are that your parents have a modem or router combination that is leased from their ISP. Many people do. If this is the case, you are looking for one device. If not, you are looking for two that are likely in close proximity to one another. The third step is, have you tried to turn it off and on again? You have probably heard this line anytime you have reached out to a tech support professional for anything. That is because it is work. Turning a computer router or modem off and then back on can sometimes clean up like lingering issues. And then the last step, if all fails, call the ISP. If you have gotten this far, you have done an awesome job troubleshooting your family's internet speed woes. But some things you just can't fix on your own. So if you have discovered slow speed despite a rocking router in a central location, newest device and a squad of free network, it's time to call in the pros. Take heart that you have done your due diligence and see if you can schedule a service window before you skip town. Well, I think that's all for my counter argument. Thank you very much, and good morning.
Good morning, Miss, Ma'am, and all of my friends. I am as the second speaker of the affirmative, and I would like to rebut the opposition team in the following particular cases. The first speaker of the opposite team said that the online classes save time and money. And do you think e-learning uses less money? Well, I don't think so. First of all, the internet service provider gives us so many choices to choose which one is the most suitable for our daily dosage of internet connection. But the data package comes in very different prices and in a very various type. And most of the students, they still have to ask for money from their parents to fulfill the need of internet access. So eventually, every household has to increase their expenses to provide the internet connection for online learning only. And then second, he also said that e-learning is consistent. Well, e-learning methods are proven to be highly effective at improving the academic knowledge of the students. However, developing the communicational skills of the student is an area often neglected in the online lesson. And due to the lack of face-to-face communication between peers, student, and teacher in the online setting, the student might find that they are unable to work effectively in a group or in a team setting. But neglecting the communicational skill of the student will inevitably lead into many graduates who excel or who will, superior in a theoretical knowledge, but they cannot pass their knowledge on to others. And then the third point, that he also said e-learning leads to better retention. Well, I don't think so, although this drawback of e-learning is starting to be addressed and fixed by a more innovative online learning platform. The problem has yet to disappear completely. The problem is that a large portion of e-learning training providers choose us to focus largely on the developing in theoretical knowledge only, rather than in a practical skills. The reason for this evidence, theoretical lectures are considered as an easier to be implemented in an online learning rather than a practical lectures. After all, without the face-to-face communication and physical classroom to use as a workshop, implementing practical project in an online course requires significantly more prior planning than the theoretical training. Well, I have refused the opposition side, and then I will deliver the argument that make it more clear that online learning is rubbish. I have 3 points. The first point is that cheating prevention during online assessment is complicated. Well, unfortunately, one of the biggest disadvantages of e-learning continues to be cheating through various methods. Compared to the on-campus student or face-to-face meeting, online students can cheat the assessment more easily as they take the assessment on their own environment and also using their own personal computers. The student cannot be directly observed during the assessment without a video feed. Making cheat detection during online assessment will be more complicated than a face-to-face meeting. And then additionally, without a proper identity verification system in the place or in every assessment, students taking online assessment might be able to let a third party take the assessment instead of themselves, of course, and it will result in a wholly fraudulent test result. And then the second point, online student feedback is limited. Well, in a face-to-face classroom, teacher can give students immediate face-to-face feedback. Students who are experiencing problems in the curriculum can resolve them quickly and directly, either during the lecture or during the dedicated office hours. Personalized feedback has a very positive impact on a student, and it makes the learning process easier, richer, and more significant. While on e-learning, they still tend to struggle with the student feedback. Students completing regular assessment become dissatisfied when they are experiencing a lack of personalized feedback. The traditional method of providing student feedback don't always work in an e-learning environment. And because of this, online education providers are forced to look for the alternative methods for providing feedback in an online system. And then the third point, that e-learning requires strong self-motivation and time management skill. Well, lack of self-motivation among students continues to be one of the primary reasons why students fail to compete in an online courses. In a face-to-face classroom, there are numerous factors which constantly push students towards their learning goal. And face-to-face communication with professor, peer-to-peer activities, and a strict schedule all work in unison to keep the student from falling off track during their studies. In the setting of an online learning environment, however, there are fewer external factors which push the student to perform well. In many cases, the students are left to fend themselves during their learning activities without anyone constantly urging them on towards their learning goals. And students taking e-learning course will find that they are often required to learn difficult materials in a comfortable home setting without any of the added pressure normally associated with a traditional college. And then as the result, keeping up with the regular deadlines during online studies can become difficult for those students who lack of strong self-motivation and time management skill. And I think that's from me. Thank you for your attention. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am, miss, and all my dearest friends. As the second speaker of the opposite team, I would like to review the affirmative team on the following particular cases. The second speaker from the affirmative team has tried to tell you that e-learning is not save money because it increases the family expenses to provide the internet connection. Once again, our team is against this argument. E-learning provides a cheaper way of teaching while still giving the student material necessary for the class. E-learning can be done at home, and so there is no need to bother renting boarding house near the university or school if their house is far from the university. From there, they can save a monthly allowance and replace it by buying a data plan for internet connection. Not only that, the living expenses needed for a student who immigrate is more than just a place to live and food to eat. But there are still many other costs such as stationery, basic goods, gasoline, and many more. If we calculate an allowance for a student in Semarang and the average cost of living in a boarding house there, the result is 1,300,000 rupiah. This does not include the additional cost, where the data package used per month for online class fees is only around 300,000 rupiah for Wi-Fi users and 150,000 rupiah for mobile and data packet users. To eat and other costs can be more efficient if the students are at home, because they can eat with their parents. So, the conclusion is e-learning saves money. They also said that cheating prevention during online assessment is complicated. As the opposite team, we believe that this statement is not true. In this technology era, there are many ways to make a program that can be used as the tool to prevent the cheating from online assessment. In this case, the teacher must also have a different way to prevent cheating when conducting online classes. As an example, the Elenas web application that provided by Universitas Negeri Semarang, which can reduce the time spent on the exam if there are students who commit cheating. This web application can still be developed. Maybe if there are students who cheat out of the test page, they can immediately be disqualified or get another sentence. Not only that, teacher can also supervise students who are doing online quiz by doing video call groups using Zoom application, with the rule that they must display faces and cell phones in area that can be seen on the screen. So, when students try to cheat, they can be seen and be penalized directly. Then, if the assignment is a paper that requires students to answer for a long time and not directly, the teacher can check whether their writing is the result of plagiarism or not using the website called Turnitin.com. We also believe that cheating is the will of the students themselves. Even if the class is done offline, students who already have cheating tendencies will cheat whatever the conditions are. So, with a little education for the teacher, preventing cheating when online class is not that complicated. And the last argument that I want to review is that they said e-learning requires strong self-motivation and time management skills, and that makes the student fail to complete online courses. In fact, in a face-to-face classes, students who have lack of self-motivation will also fail to complete the courses. Students need to look for their own motivation, because that is the strongest motivation to be success. This also applies to time management. If students can manage their time well when conducting online classes, this time management capability can be very useful in the future. This is a challenge that must be passed by students. Offline or offline classes are the same. A student must develop and adapt to a situation that requires them to learn. That's all the point that I want to rebut from the affirmative team. And then I want to deliver 2 points to strengthen our statement that e-learning is not rubbish. First, we believe that e-learning can improve student skills and increase the amount of experience that they have in their job. This development is seen to develop their potentials, increase employability, improve quality of life, and lead to the realization of their aspirations. It is the new form of learning that has been of growing popularity to individual users compared to learners in the masses. With the flexibility involved with learning courses, individuals are inclined to expand on a journey of personal development that can be assessed from within their own comfort zone, an influential factor. For some individuals, learning is an alternative learning experience for those who are uncomfortable learning in a large group. E-learning allows individuals to learn at their own pace without distraction and indirect costs. Essentially, individuals need to invest in learning techniques which adequately best apply to helping them absorb the learning information required for their personal objectives. The ability to study on their own schedule and to manage the pace of their learning experience through the e-learning defines the process of personal development more so than previous form. In traditional classroom-based course, there is an ongoing problem with the student retention. Sometimes students don't connect with the course materials or instructors. They may have noticed attendance suffer, and soon enough, some students quickly fall behind their peers. As online education provides a greater degree of flexibility, it can be less stressful to manage alongside other commitments. Furthermore, there is less pressure to engage the students as you have the help of device, apps, and multimedia tools to make learning a more interactive and enjoyable prospect. This provides education institutions new opportunities to deliver new content ways that the student of today can relate to. Students can use online tools effectively have a lot to gain in the workplace, where certain roles require exceptional digital skills such as marketers and those working. The majority of roles in a business requires some level of digital know-how. Learning online helps improve digital literacy as it provides students with an insight into how to be effective online and communicate with content, peers, and lecturers. As digital literacy is quickly becoming the most valuable tool for lifelong learning, improving abilities is a worthwhile investment for students and faculty. And then our next one is, we believe that e-learning could be the tool of the future to provide the young and the old with schooling and instruction. Nowadays, we have access to a quality education whenever and wherever we want. As long as we have access to a computer, we are now entering a new era, the revolution of online education. As computer ownership grows across the globe, e-learning becomes increasingly viable and accessible. Internet connection speeds are increasing, and with that, opportunities for more multimedia training methods arise. The result now is that there are a number of tools that help create interactive training courses, standardize the learning process, and or inject informal elements to otherwise formal learning processes. Through e-learning, you can study wide range of course types and learn just about any skill necessary to further your career. You can train for virtually anything as long as you have an internet connection. The number of different courses and subjects range significantly, with many options for every area of interest. There are 5 trends that are impacting the future of education, allowing students and teachers to embrace this technology. The first trend is called Learning Management System, or LMS. This is designed to develop and track a variety of online training initiatives. Professors may use the LMS to upload materials such as lectures for their students to easily access them online. Another education trend is called gamification. This process creates algorithms to develop educational games for students to access. This technology brings personalization, engagement, and better experience for the user. The third education trend is split into two parts, virtual reality and augmented reality. In VR, the environment is stimulated, and in AR, information is overlaid onto an existing environment. Using both VR and AR technologies, students can simulate real-world environments to achieve more hands-on learning. The fourth trend is coding and robotics. Many learning institutions have begun implementing robotic technologies in their classroom. These institutions work in collaboration with educators to help bring a better educational environment for students. The final trend is the development of the smart classroom. A smart classroom refers to a learning environment that is built for technology. From smart tablets and voice recognition to biometric device, sensors, and artificial intelligence or AI. In smart classroom, students are able to take advantage of the most up-to-date technologies. That's all the point that we want to deliver. Thank you very much.